Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Jeremy Vogt and I'm one of the staff here at NACTV. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, or Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. And today I will be reading the Neepawa Banner and Press for Friday, June 23rd, 2023. And on the front page, celebrating the culture and heritage of the Philippines. Neepawa's Filipino community gathered together en masse on Saturday, June 17th to celebrate the culture and heritage of the nation, as well as Philippines Independence Day, which is recognized annually on June 12th. The festivities kicked off with a parade showcasing many of the different regions and cultures from within the Philippines. The event shifted to the Yellowhead Center in the evening for an array of food, dance, and other celebratory events. And there are more pictures on page 19. Dance, fashion, and cultural dress made for an eye-catching event on June 17th in celebration of Filipino History Month in Neepawa. The primary event for the day was the parade, which featured street dancing, top left, and floats and appearances such as the LGBTQ groups and pageant participants, top middle. Additionally, a variety of championship games for both basketball and volleyball were held. Bottom left, an excited crowd cheers. An evening of entertainment at NMS, Neepawa Middle School. The Neepawa Middle School was home to family fun on June 15th. Starting at 6:30 p.m., everyone was invited to bring their family and friends to the green space behind NMS to enjoy entertainment such as face painting, balloon animals and items, jokes, riddles, and musical performances from the students and student council, and a dance performance from the BizDac dance group. I think we have a great turnout, NMS Principal Val Perieski said that evening. It is nice for families to come out and mingle and enjoy the entertainment. Perieski added, the event was organized by the Student Council with assistance from the staff. Originally, we were going to do a movie night, but it takes quite a while to get dark enough to show one. This was Plan B, so it's so nice to see people enjoying it. All of the entertainment was free, save for a raffle that was held in order to aid in the funding the upcoming Grade 8 camping trip. The NMS extends thanks to all who came out and enjoyed the evening. Additionally, if anyone has any old Junior Tiger gear that has been outgrown, they are welcome to bring it to the school. Any gear received will be redistributed to current juniors. And there are a couple of photos accompanying the article. Pictured above, members of the BizDac dance group gave a live performance at the Neepawa Middle School's Family Day on June 15th. And below, this young individual was one of many who got their faces painted at the family night by a talented young artist friend. Neepawa Kin Club hosts bike rodeo for kids. The evening of June 14th was all about bike safety in Neepawa. On that day, a bike rodeo was put on by the Neepawa Kin Club at the Salvation Army parking lot for kids ages 6 to 10. The rodeo was put on in collaboration with Manitoba Public Insurance, which provided instructors to advise the young cyclists. The Kin Club also partnered with Westman Settlement Services in order to reach more community members. This is, I believe, the first time the Kin Club hosted a bike rodeo, said organizer Stephanie Chrischuk. We decided to host the bike rodeo to have a project that focuses and benefits the youth of our community. Chrischuk told the Neepawa Banner and Press that she received some inspiration for the rodeo from the Cycle Without Age program that the Kin Club is supporting. Additionally, that Neepawa has a large number of people who use bikes as their main transportation. We wanted to provide a space to have people hear more about bike safety, said Chrischuk. We also really liked the idea of the MPI presentation because it had an instructional section and the practical portion that allowed children to practice what they have learned. After the instructors concluded the introductory course, which included important information such as how to properly wear a helmet, the kids were introduced to the practice track. The track was outlined with small pylons and included stop signs, a crosswalk, and a train track station. I believe that the event went well. We had Officer Joe come out and support us, and the MPI instructors noted that this is the first time they have presented in front of the parents, said Chrischuk. They liked that they could reach more people with their information. Chrischuk added, the timing of this presentation was nice because the children that missed the bike rodeos at school due to COVID from the past years were able to participate in the rodeo that we put on. In her final comments, Chrischuk extended her gratitude, stating, "Thank you to the Salvation Army for letting us use the parking lot, DQ for providing treat coupons for the children, Westman Settlement Services for helping us reach more families, and the town of Neepawa for providing us barricades to block off the parking lot. MPI put on a great presentation and were excellent with the children." And on page 6, Out of Helen's Kitchen, today is titled Salt Well. Salt has been an important commodity since early civilization, and people went to great lengths to acquire it. In Roman times, the legionnaires received part of their salary in salt. The Latin word for salt, sal, is where we get the word salary from, and that makes sense of the expression, not worth his salt. In the Old Testament, salt was precious and used as an offering to God. There are few recipes that do not have salt in them. Salt seasons food, preserves food, and is an essential element in our diet for fluid balance and muscle and nerve activity. In cakes and other sweet baking, salt is called for as it helps develop the flavor. Salt draws moisture out of food, so when cooking roasts such as beef, do not add salt prior to cooking for a more flavorful, juicy end product. Add salt to the water for boiling vegetables, as this enhances their natural flavor and you will not need to salt them when served at the table. Did you know that Neepawa had a salt industry in town for many years? In the early 1900s, wells were dug in Neepawa with the intention of finding oil. The Manitoba government drilled 1,900 feet looking for oil, only to find a salt lake. Canadian Industries Limited started mining salt in 1932 and produced 35 tons daily. A new plant was opened in 1941, where our Yellowhead Centre is now, and taken over by Canadian Salt in 1951. The salt was pumped 1,500 feet from a seemingly inexhaustible lake of brine. Neepawa was the only natural salt brine plant in Canada, and the operation involved evaporation of the brine to produce the salt. In June 1968, the Canadian Salt Company announced that the salt plant in Neepawa would be closing down. They found it more economical to establish a new plant at Belle Plaine, Saskatchewan. The Neepawa plant had a capacity of 90 tons per day with a staff of 60. Belle Plaine was expected to commence operations with 200 tons per day with a staff of 35 and the potential to reach 800 tons a day. The Belle Plaine plant would be using salt that was on top of the ground from the potash mines. When the Neepawa plant closed in 1969, it was sold to a local community organization. They transformed the old plant into a hall and skating arena, which was named the Yellowhead Center, just in time for Manitoba's centennial celebrations. Before refrigeration, salt was a commonly used method of preserving food. It draws out the moisture that causes bacterial growth, either slowing down growth or stopping it entirely. Salt is used to cure meat such as ham and bacon. Salt is used in layers with cabbage to make sauerkraut. Salt was and is still used dissolved in warm water to soak sprains with. We gargled with it to help cure sore throats and canker sores. When I was a kid on the farm, we kids licked the big block of salt that was put out for the cattle. We never licked the dirty part though, just the clean, smooth part that the cows had licked clean with their tongues. Feeding your family doesn't get much easier than using ham as the meat. We no longer need the 3 weeks it took to make the ham from scratch. Ham is readily available at all our grocery stores to enjoy the ease of putting a meal together. And this week's recipes are Hawaiian ham and French ham bread. A Journey to Restoration in St. Rose du Lac. And this is a submitted article. Following an inspection in 2016, the St. Rose Grotto was determined to be in desperate need of repairs. To accept the challenge of restoring this historic religious monument and to ensure the safety of the people frequenting the site, a committee representing various ethnic groups was formed in late December of that year. The core members who remained with the project to its final completion are Chairperson Cynthia Maillard, Treasurer Jean Stinson, Finance Renee Maillard, Linda Bonin, Recorders Janet Delvaux, Paulette Delorier, Evelyn Delorier, Dan and Pat Delorier, Denise LaBelle, Elaine Legal, Donna Parthenay, Debbie Panette, and Sharon Vanden Bosch. During a 6-year period, numerous meetings were held to organize fundraising events such as bake sales, 50-50 draws, sponsoring Sisters of the Holy Rock, farmers markets, raffles, calendar sales, craft sales, silent auctions, St. Rose in Motion, fun and fitness walk, and many other functions. The committee appreciates our local co-op, Super Thrifty, IGA, and Prairie Mountain Health Unit for providing prizes for many of these events. The Grotto Committee also collaborated with the local MMF to celebrate Louis Riel Day in 2019 and 2020. With the assistance of Debbie Panette's Forever Engraving, the sale of commemorative step plaques has been an ongoing fundraiser. The initial cost of restoration was estimated at over $130,000, not including sandblasting, restoration of the statues, reconstructing the staircases, electrical, and landscaping. Masonry work was started in 2019. This was undertaken by Michelle LaBelle of Western Restoration Limited, with St. Rose Concrete providing dry cement. There was no progress in 2020 and 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2022, Darren and Eldon of Coulthard Masonry completed and sealed the grouting. Prior to grouting, Michael Verhage sandblasted the ceiling in the altar area. During this period, Brian Tucker of CT Concrete reconstructed the new staircases. The statues of Saint Bernadette and Our Holy Mother were restored by Linda Bonin and Evelyn Delorier. The gates to the altar area were restored by Denis Mackay. The grotto restoration project was favorably endorsed by the St. Rose community, with more than $192,000 received and expensed. This amount is comprised of $105,000 in donations, $4,700 in-kind donations, $79,000 from fundraising events, and $4,130 in miscellaneous revenue. These figures would have been much higher if not for the many volunteers who chiseled and removed the damaged grout, hauled in stones, provided meals, and provided power washing equipment to clean the crevices. In 2020, the Archdiocese transferred ownership of the property to the municipality of St. Rose. The maintenance of the grotto and grounds will be ongoing by the municipality. To celebrate the completion of this project, we invite everyone to attend a Pilgrimage of Hope Mass at 4 p.m. August 13th, 2023 at the grotto site, St. Rose du Lac. Please bring a lawn chair, a cold plate meal, dessert, and beverages to follow. RSVP to 204-447-2484 before July 15th. And there's a photo accompanying the article. The completion of the St. Rose du Lac Grotto will be celebrated on Sunday, August 13th. And below, Neepawa Rotary Club acknowledges Plaid for Dad. Neepawa Rotary Club recently showed their support for the Plaid for Dad initiative. The Friday before Father's Day is identified as Plaid for Dad Day, where groups and individuals wear something plaid to promote awareness of prostate cancer and the need for early detection. Since 2015, Plaid for Dad has raised $2.7 million for groundbreaking prostate cancer research. Local cycling club spins for a cause. Rhythm Cycle to host spinathon for Dream Ride on June 25th. Neepawa's Rhythm Cycle Club is prepared to spin for a cause this weekend. On June 25th, the fitness group will be hosting a spinathon and barbecue in support of the 2023 Dream Ride. Weather permitting, the event will be held outdoors in the parking lot of the old co-op building at 342 Mountain Avenue. The barbecue portion will be available from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., while those who wish to participate in the spinathon can book a session for 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 p.m., or 1 p.m. It'll be a lot of fun. People can come down, even if they aren't spinning, for lunch and cheer on the spinners, said local Dream Ride organizer Marcia Forg. There will be a Dream Kid appearance as well. Anyone wishing to participate in a spinathon session is able to book a session via the Mind Body app, similar to booking a normal spin class with the Rhythm Cycle Club. Sign up is free, with a $20 donation being asked. All proceeds will go towards Dream Ride. In addition to the spinathon and barbecue, Rhythm Cycle Neepawa had also been setting aside $1 per rider from one day of classes every week this month for the purpose of donating it to the cause. We're very thankful to Rhythm Cycle for partnering with us this year, said Forg. Thank you to Kristen and Steve Jury and to their team of coaches. This event will be a lot of fun, and it intertwines nicely with the biking portion of Dream Ride. The Dream Ride itself is still set to go forward on July 8th, with sign-ups still open. and as of June 16th, the total funds raised so far were just under $10,000. We have 51 people registered, which I believe will probably be the highest registered yet, said Forg. The Dream Ride event will take place at the Sportsman's Park in Onanol. All are welcome to arrive at noon to enjoy lunch, as well as musical entertainment from Neepawa band Lunch Money, starting at 1 p.m. on the patio. Prizes will also be available for the registered participants. And for people who don't want to ride or walk, they can come to the patio party and celebrate the efforts of Dream Ride with everybody, said Forg. Our Dream Kids will be in attendance with their families, as well as our Dream Kid from last year. Forg added, Kinsman Courts has signed up a virtual walking team and are accepting donations as well. They will be doing a walk in Neepawa on July 6th. We're really thankful for them jumping on board as well. And really, we're just thankful for everybody in Neepawa and area for sponsoring, pledging, and supporting Kane and Kendall's dreams and the Dream Factory. If anyone has any questions, they are welcome to contact either Marcia or Gary Forg via phone at 204-841-2051 and 204-740-0166, respectively. And we have a photo of some of the cyclists at the Rhythm Cycle Club gearing up for the Dream Ride fundraiser on June 25th, and funds from some of Rhythm Cycle's regular classes are also being donated. Neepawa-born woman in search of birth family. A Neepawa-born woman is currently seeking assistance to find her birth parents. Joanne Ruskin was originally born here in February of 1967 under the name Brenda Lee Hunter. She was then renamed Joanne upon her adoption. Joanne currently resides in Kelowna, BC, conducting her search with the aid of her daughter, Amber. My mother is alive, healthy, and well. She grew up with a loving family on a farm in Manitoba and now has 2 kids of her own and 1 grandchild, Amber enthused. She made a wonderful life with a very loving husband until we lost him just over a year ago. Amber added, she isn't looking for anything from her family. She just spent her whole life wondering where she came from and is in a place in her life now where she feels comfortable reaching out to them. At the moment, the information the pair currently have to go off of is that Joanne's birth parents are believed to have been born in 1942, mother, and 1944, father. Anyone with additional information is asked to contact Amber directly via abby-ruskin@hotmail.com. $1 million milestone for BPCF. $211,553 distributed during annual grants luncheon and presentation. The Beautiful Plains Community Foundation, or BPCF, has achieved a historic benchmark of giving that has been a quarter century in the making. With their donation of $60,544 this year to the Neepawa Health Center, the BPCF surpassed $1 million in total support for the local medical facility since 1998. On top of that already impressive singular achievement, the endowment fund also distributed a combined $211,553 between 54 local groups and programs in 2023, one of their most successful campaigns ever. Their support for the health center, as well as all the other deserving local endeavors, was presented on June 15th at the annual BPCF Grants Presentation and Luncheon. Brent Sorensen, the board president for the BPCF, said this year's grant total is the most they have been able to distribute to date. He added that the foundation is honored to be able to help locally in this way on an annual basis. As for the cumulative amount given to the Neepawa Health Center over the last 25 years, Sorensen stressed that it has been a privilege to aid in funding for items such as some equipment purchases that are not necessarily able to be funded through the RHA. As an endowment fund, Beautiful Plains Community Foundation takes donations, which are then pooled and invested through the Winnipeg Foundation. The annual grants are then distributed from the interest earned on those investments. This year, grants were given out in 5 different streams, which are NACI Youth Advisory Committee, the Gaynor Vivian Flow-Through Grants, Donor Advised Grants, Community Fund, and Designated Funds. The NACI Youth Advisory Committee, or YAC, grants totaled $3,150 and were split between 8 organizations. Meanwhile, $10,000 was distributed by Gaynor Vivian through his initiative. $5,500 went to the Neepawa Salvation Army, $2,500 to Neepawa Middle School, and $2,000 to NACI. In total, $88,475 in community fund grants were then distributed. Not-for-profits serving Neepawa, as well as surrounding RMs such as Rosedale, Glenello Lansdowne, and portions of North Cypress Langford can apply for these annual grants. This year, 13 organizations received grants. The largest individual grants went to Brookdale Community Center and Neepawa District Wildlife Association, who each received $20,000 apiece. Franklin Memorial Hall and Touchwood Park also received fair-sized grants of $10,000 each. The donor-advised grants totaled $5,030 and were provided to the Dream Factory for $3,590 and Neepawa Fire Department for $1,440. For the designated fund grants, 28 groups split $104,898. Aside from the health center's $60,544 grant, other notable supports were Country Meadows Personal Care Home, $9,294, and Beautiful Plains Museum, $6,200. The Beautiful Plains Community Foundation accepts donations all year long. And there are a couple of photos accompanying the article. On the top photo, there's the big check for the 2023 total grants, totaling $211,553. And on the bottom left, Beautiful Plains Community Foundation President Brent Sorensen presents the ceremonial check of $1 million to the Neepawa Health Center. And on the following page, a message from the Community Foundation President Brent Sorensen. 2022 saw another successful year for the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation with the return of some of our more popular events, with the winding down of many of the restrictions associated with the COVID-19 pandemic. In saying that, though, the economic conditions that saw interest rates rise over the course of 2022 and subsequently the markets take a downward move did have an impact on our overall endowment funds, as you will note in the accompanying financial statement information. We were able to finish the year with our overall endowment fund portfolio still exceeding $4.35 million. Our land project was a success again in 2022 with the continued dedication of Jack Falk and Jamie Denbo, along with the many individuals and companies who have supported the project through the first 2 years of completion, with the overall profit for the year being just shy of $11,000. While the growing conditions have continued to present challenges each year, With the help of our supporters and community members, we have been able to have a very successful result each year. In addition to the land project, 2022 saw the Community Foundation host a jail and bail event in November, in conjunction with the Giving Challenge, with the jail and bail raising in excess of $4,000. A huge thank you to those who volunteered to be placed into jail. Without your participation, this event doesn't happen. The Giving Challenge itself saw BPCF raise over $40,000 during the week. Thank you to all who donated during this week. It is greatly appreciated by all of us on the board of directors, as well as the community as a whole, as your generosity will allow BPCF to grant more and more funds into the community for many years to come. We were once again the benefactor of the J.C. Lavich Construction Hard Hat Golf Tournament as well, which returned in 2022. A huge thank you goes out to John and Carolyn Lavich for their generosity and hard work with respect to this tournament. With the relaxing of the COVID-19 pandemic restrictions, we were once again able to hold our annual grant luncheon in June of 2022, where we announced total grants in excess of $187,883. We are beyond pleased to have again been able to provide grants to organizations, events, and projects throughout the RM of Glenella Lansdowne, RM of Rosedale, Langford portion of the RM of North Cypress Langford, and the town of Neepawa. June also saw the conclusion of terms on the board of directors for Keith Jury, Ian Thompson, and Ann Kaharski. We would like to thank each of them for their time and dedication to the Community Foundation over the years. Joining the board of directors in their places were Danny Gillis, Dan Free, and Colleen Taylor. It was a pleasure to be able to welcome each of them to the board of the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation, and we look forward to the continued contribution of each of them. The Beautiful Plains Community Foundation would not be in the position it is without the continued guidance and hard work of our Executive Director, Brenda Krischuk. We continue to rely on Brenda for her expertise and strong leadership and guidance in providing direction and assistance to the Board of Directors. Thank you for all you do, Brenda. Turning to 2023, the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation hosted the first ever Dancing with the Stars fundraising event, with plans already started for the second rendition to take place in early 2024. As well, we will be hosting a charity golf tournament in August and many other events leading up to and during the annual Giving Challenge Week in November. Please watch for more information on each of these as we get closer to the events. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Foundation and the community as a whole, I would like to extend a huge thank you to all those who have supported the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation over the course of the past year. Your continued generosity is appreciated more than words could ever express. We look forward to being able to continue to have a positive impact on the communities we serve. Thank you to your support of the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation. Brent Sorensen, President. And on to sports on page 12. Another dramatic win for Neepawa Cubs. The Neepawa Cubs have made a habit this year of winning in thrilling fashion. Their 10-9 win over the Portage Padres on Friday, June 16th, followed that same script, as it was Neepawa's third walk-off win of the Santa Clara Baseball League season. After giving up 4 runs in the top of the first and trailing 5-1 after 2 innings, the Cubs slowly clawed back into the game. They did so with timely precision hitting, which drove in 7 runs in total between the 3rd and 5th innings. Both clubs would score 1 in the 6th before the Padres went off for 3 runs in the top of the 7th to make it a 9-9 tie. In the bottom of the 7th, a single from Craig Casto brought in the winning run for Neepawa, who improved their overall record to 3-5 on the year. Portage, meanwhile, dropped to 4-3, and third place in the league standings with a defeat. Cubs pitcher Shane Froese was credited with the win, going 2 innings and striking out 3. Elsewhere around the Santa Clara Baseball League, a first-inning grand slam from Jared Bridges helped power the Carberry Royals to a 15-2 win over the Minnedosa Mavericks. Corey Billart picked up the win, throwing 5 shutout innings. Carberry improved to 5-4, while Minnedosa falls to 1-7 in their first season back in the Santa Clara League. The other Friday, June 16th game saw the Plumas Pirates remain perfect on the year with an 11-5 over the Austin A's. The Pirates are 8-0, while Austin are 4-5. And the overall standings in the league as of this past Wednesday have Plumas in front with 8 wins in 8 games, followed by Carberry with 5 wins in 9 games, then Portage with 4 wins in 7 games, then Austin with 4 wins in 9 games, Neepawa with 3 wins in 9 games, and Minnedosa with 1 win in 8 games. And there are some accompanying pictures. Garrett Rempel connects on a pitch during Neepawa's mid-game comeback against the Portage Padres on Friday, June 16th. And to the right, hole-in-one. Congratulations to Mark Giroux, who on Tuesday, June 20th, sank an ace on hole 4 at the Neepawa Golf and Country Club. A culture of exceptionalism in Neepawa. Another spectacular season for NACI Tigers track and field team. Over time, the Neepawa Area Collegiate Institute, or NACI, track and field team has established a tradition of excellence within the program that it looks to uphold each and every year. That tradition was definitely equaled, if not surpassed, at some points by this year's club. The outdoor competition schedule began in May for NACI with 3 consecutive events. The first was in Brandon on May 10th, followed by their home track meet on May 18th, and finally one in Stonewall on May 23rd. From there, the Tigers then turned their attention to the Zone 7 Track and Field Championships, where they successfully claimed first place overall with a total team score of 494 points. From that day, the Tigers captured 55 total medals, 24 gold, 16 silver, and 15 bronze. Perhaps the most notable moment from the day saw Trinity Turner break the senior girls javelin record with a throw of 38.85 meters, surpassing the benchmark that had been untouched for 39 years. Next on the calendar was the Manitoba High School Athletic Association, MHSAA, Provincial Championship. In total, 30 Neepawa-based athletes advanced to provincials in Brandon. NACI continued its strong performances and ultimately won the AAA track and field title. This continues the legacy of NACI excellence, as it is the team's 3rd provincial title in the last 4 championships. Some of the most notable NACI performances at the provincial championships include: in junior varsity, Jet Turner, bronze medal in javelin, 10th place in discus; Rhea Kaushal, 5th place in 400 meters; Rhea Kaushal, Taylor Tarrin, Emma Pollock, and Shay Cox, 5th place in the girls 4x100 meter relay; Trent Tomanico, 6th place in 400 meters; Sammy Uyevado, 6th place in 800 meters. Che Cox, 7th in triple jump. Paige Kaspic, 8th in triple jump. And Allison Beaumont, 10th in pentathlon. And in varsity, Trinity Turner, gold medal in javelin, silver medal in triple jump, and 4th place in discus. Jill Parrott, 5th place in 400 meters, 8th in 800 meters. Tarek Lapointe, Brody Pollock, Lincoln Murray, and Rylan Bray, boys by 400 meters, 4th. Hannah Kaspic, Kyra Kaspic, Katie Ray Byram, and Jill Parrott, Brooke Allen. Girls 4 by 100 meters, 5th place. Cooper Kasprick, Lincoln Murray, Rylan Bray, and Kenji Sarmiento. Boys 4 by 100 meters, 7th place. Katie Ray Byram, Brooke Allen, Trinity Turner, and Jill Parrott. Girls distance medley relay, 8th place. Lincoln Murray, Brody Pollock, Rylan Bray, and Tarek Lapointe. Boys distance medley relay, 9th place. Lincoln Murray, 10th in javelin, and Tarek Lapointe, 11th in javelin. And Titans regular season schedule announced. Summer has barely begun, and we're already thinking about our favorite winter sport. The Neepawa Titans and the Manitoba Junior Hockey League are as well, as they have announced their regular season schedule for the 2023-24 season. The MJHL's opening weekend is set to begin on Friday, September 22nd, with 5 games scheduled. Part of that opening evening will feature the Titans on the road to Wayway-Sikapo to face the Wolverines. Opening face-off at the Wayway-Sikapo Arena complex is set for 7:30 p.m. Neepawa will then return home to the Yellowhead Center for their own home opener the very next night, as they will take on the Portage Terriers. The game will begin at 7:30 p.m. As for the complete season, the Titans, along with every other team in the MJHL, will play a 58-game schedule that concludes on March 17, 2024. The 2024 McMunn & Yates Turnbull Cup playoffs will begin March 22nd. Neepawa will play 29 home games, with 28 of those at the Yellowhead Center and 1 designated home game at the Seven Oaks Sportsplex on October 25th. That game is part of the annual MJHL Showcase, in which every club plays in Winnipeg in front of an array of college and university, as well as professional hockey club scouts. Of the 29 home dates for the Titans, 21 will have a 7:30 p.m. start time, and 5 will begin at 6:30 p.m. The 3 remaining times are 2 p.m. for the MJHL Showcase game, a 5 p.m. Remembrance Day matinee versus the Dauphin Kings, and a 3 o'clock p.m. start time for February 18th against the Winkler Flyers. The complete listing of the regular season schedule for the Neepawa Titans is online at the MJHL website. On page 14, we have photos of the Carberry Collegiate graduating class of 2023. So congratulations to them. And then on page 17, an exciting time for the Beautiful Plains Museum. Neepawa Museum Board seeing to multiple projects. Board members of the Beautiful Plains Museum have been on the go lately. This is due to a few different projects, including one ongoing project from their 2022 plans regarding storage for some historic firefighting equipment. We were very fortunate to receive a $25,000 grant from the provincial government, said Helen Drysdale. We had decided a couple years ago that we wanted to build a garage to house our 1942 fire truck and the 1904 Franklin fire wagon. The garage was built last year, while the funds just went through recently this year. The funds received covered half of the cost for the project. The fire truck in question was originally used at the Commonwealth Air Training Facility at the airport in Neepawa during World War II. The truck was later used by the town of Neepawa and eventually went to the Beautiful Plains Museum. As well, the 1905 fire wagon from Franklin and several pieces of old fire equipment are also being housed in the two-door garage. The Franklin fire wagon was housed in an addition which was added onto the museum. Since the Franklin fire wagon is now safely stored in the garage, several capable volunteers removed the existing addition. We're very excited because it helps restore the face of the CN station to more of its original historic front, said Drysdale. Drysdale added, "It's important that these historical vehicles be preserved for future generations, so that they can understand the evolution of firefighting equipment. These artifacts are also going to be exhibited in community parades and other events so that they are able to view to community members who do not visit the museum." The new garage is wheelchair accessible, but is currently not open to the public. This is because the museum team is working on putting together some displays for the garage. But hopefully it will be open closer to the end of summer, Drysdale shared. If not, then it will be ready for a grand opening next year. Another project that has the museum board in good spirits is the completion of the museum's brickwork. Stiles Masonry of Brandon has been working to complete the delicate work associated with the restoration to heritage building standards and practices. CN had painted the bricks, but when painted it doesn't allow the bricks to breathe and that can damage them, Drysdale explained. And the bricks are soft, so you can't use a wire brush or pressure washer to get the paint off. When the paint removal is completed, the bricks will be stained to match the rest of the exterior. So Stiles Masonry had just the expertise we needed. The final session for this work was slated to take place on Monday, June 19th. A final prospective project is also being considered, where in addition to the building used to stand, acting as temporary housing for the Franklin fire wagon, a warehouse store remains. While the museum board has yet to decide, they are putting out word to different artists this winter to get ideas for a potential mural. The mural would decorate the warehouse store. So it's been a very exciting and busy time at the museum, Drysdale enthused. The Beautiful Plains Museum is open every summer and is home to a variety of exhibits. Additionally, it has extensive photo archives on a variety of subjects relevant to Neepawa and the area. It also has a library of history books that can be used to help facilitate research on your family tree. And a couple of photos on page 18. Locally crafted benches to be painted at Raft. Members of the Neepawa Men's Shed delivered this bench to Arts Forward during the week of June 16th. The bench was reserved for use during the Raft event, which was scheduled for July 22nd. The Arts Center has partnered with Bruce Brothers Bistro to have the bench painted by a local artist that day, with it set to become a fixture for everyone to enjoy. This bench is also just one of 3 to 4 that the Men's Shed intends to build for the event. The additional benches will also be worked with under a similar agreement to the one pictured in order to art bomb the community. The Neepawa Men's Shed has made a large variety of projects for several community groups and events throughout its years. And to the right, Gladstone Elks 50-50 winner. Bev Wilson of Gladstone, Manitoba was the lucky winner of the Manitoba Elks Foundation 50/50 cash draw held in conjunction with the 2023 calendar sales. Gladstone Elks members Louis Booker, Ed Sklar, Herman Hofer, Guy Small, and Dan Novak extended their congratulations to Wilson on her winnings of $5,530. And on the bottom left, Margaret Lawrence Home hosts used book sale. Avid readers had the opportunity to browse through an assortment of books at the Margaret Lawrence Home's used book sale on June 17th. On page 19, Celebrate Canada Day, History Facts. The month of July is a time of great fanfare in Canada. Each July 1st, Canadians celebrate Canada Day, formerly known as Dominion Day. Canada Day commemorates July 1st, 1867, when the colonies Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and the province of Canada, now Ontario and Quebec, were united under the name Canada, a single dominion within the British Empire. The holiday officially was changed from Dominion Day to Canada Day in 1982, when Canada's constitution became repatriated, which meant it could no longer be amended by Britain. The Canadian flag is an integral component of Canada Day celebrations. The red and white flag with a maple leaf prominently displayed can be seen waving from atop poles at municipal buildings and on private homes across the country. Despite Canada's birthday occurring in 1867, a national flag did not accompany the creation of the Canadian Federation, with the Union Jack and other British flags still being seen as sufficient. The quest for a national flag gained steam in the early 20th century, but attempts to create a flag in both 1925 and 1946 didn't see the light of day. A committee was formed in the 1960s to receive submissions of new national flag designs. Eventually, George Stanley's design, consisting of panels of red and white with a centered maple leaf, was chosen by a committee. The new maple leaf flag became official by royal proclamation on February 15, 1965. The maple leaf already had emerged as a symbol of Canadian identity, so it made sense that it should feature on the national flag. And Neepawa's own Canada Day festivities are listed on page 20, the back of the paper, with opening ceremonies starting at 2 o'clock, free public swimming starting at 1 o'clock, and between 3 and 7 we have a magician / ventriloquist, horse-drawn wagon rides, children's bouncy inflatables, children's bubble lab, bubble soccer, face painting, reptile gardens, and more. And there will be a firework display at dusk. And on page 3 we have the looking back section. 125 years ago, Thursday, June 23rd, 1898. Glen Allen, James Gary Jr. is busily engaged working on his house, which leads us to believe that the doings of the past week have made impressions which may be overcome in the near future. Freeland, quite a contract is to be let at the school here on Thursday evening. Carpenters who are not too busy will do well to attend. Another death from measles is reported from the Galician colony in Huns Valley, but there is no destitution, and now that they have more airy quarters, no further casualties are expected. As these people are known to have from $400 to $1,000 in cash each, they are not likely to be a burden to anybody. Recent arrivals from the North Country report the Dauphin Railway being pushed ahead vigorously. It is now said the line will reach Saskatchewan this fall. 100 years ago, Friday, June 22nd, 1923. The man who wrote that war is as disastrous to victor as vanquished told a great truth which should be an effective restraint on militarists for all time. A survey of world conditions today shows that there is as great unrest and want in Britain as in Germany, while conditions in Austria are more encouraging than they are in Italy. Gypsy encampment at the home of Mrs. Gwynn this evening. 1 week from tomorrow night, and manager Brooker will close the picture show after managing it for the past 11 years. Take advantage of the last week and see every picture. Each and every program will be worth coming to see, and, above all, do not miss the farewell matinee, free, Saturday, June 30th at 3:30. 75 years ago, Thursday, June 24th, 1948. The 56th anniversary of the building of the present Knox Church will be observed on Sunday, June 27th at special service, 11 a.m. 50 years ago, Thursday, June 21st, 1973. The Reverend Bruce Miles, B.A.D.D. of First Presbyterian Church, Winnipeg, is to be the guest preacher at Knox Church's 91st anniversary service this Sunday, June 24th at 11 a.m. June 27th, Health and Social Development Minister Renee E. Tuplin has renewed an appeal to parents who have susceptible children between 12 months and 12 years of age against measles in order to stem an epidemic now spreading in the province. And from that same year, we have a picture. John Tokarik of Rossburn was the lone winner of the $2,000 major prize at the Neepawa Lions Club Parco on June 21st, 1973. The Parco had been held at the Yellowhead Center Arena. Pictured here, Tokarik is being congratulated by Bud Hansen, who was the master of ceremonies for the event. And on the bottom left, this graphic is just a portion of a large advertisement that was placed in the June 27th, 1973 edition of the Neepawa Press for the Beautiful Plains Agricultural Society Fair. And 20 years ago, Monday, June 23rd, 2003. Beautiful Plains Community Foundation handed out over $99,000 worth of grants last Tuesday, one of the largest amounts ever in the past 7 years. One of the reasons for the high number, Phase 2 of the Community Fund Challenge was completed earlier this year, adding an extra $50,000 to the grant pool. Alonzo Conservation District and Ebb and Flow First Nation are among 10 organizations to be recognized with the 2003 Spirit and the Earth Awards. The Conservation District and First Nation partnered to restore a historical ceremonial site and develop an interpretive sign project. The Spirit and the Earth Awards are presented by Manitoba Hydro to promote environmental awareness, while recognizing the culture and history of Aboriginal people. Pine Creek School Division Board of Trustees gave first reading to a bylaw providing religious instruction at elementary schools in Austin, Gladstone, McGregor, and Plumas for the 2003-04 year. A bylaw covering religious instruction must be passed annually. Disclaimer: the information gathered and used each week in the Looking Back feature is directly taken from the original print copy of the Neepawa Press and Neepawa Banner newspapers. Any errors or omissions from stories are the result of the original print and not the responsibility of the archives from the current paper. Perspectives on page 4. Rita Friesen's Homebodies this week is entitled A Saint I Ain't. There have been a couple of conversations this past week that make me think I'm flying under false colors. The first one was triggered by my response to the standard question, "How are you?" My answer is usually, "I am well, tried being good, and that doesn't work for me." The individual to whom I made this half-in-jest remark raised her eyebrows and commented that she couldn't imagine being anything but good. And this from a woman I love and respect. I have learned mostly to bite my tongue rather than regret my words, and no regrets on learning that skill. Much of my learning has come from hard lessons. Way back in high school, my classmates heeded my ill advice, feeling that being robbed of a promised spare class to get caught up in English in late May merited a boycott. Everyone complied, and our beloved teacher recognized what was going on and left the classroom. What hurt most was that when I apologized, he shrugged and simply stated that he knew it was me behind it. Ouch. Step parenting certainly reinforced the need and reason to guard my words and actions. Again, the lesson I treasure even today. Then, a few days later, in response to much the same social question, my reply, "Nothing to complain about," again furthered conversation. This, too, occurred with people who know me socially. I assure you that I can whine and complain. There are a trusted few who are my vents, and 2 of them live out of province, so venting with them is safe. They know me well and love me anyway. Here, too, I have learned that complaining is usually an exercise in futility. When I project negative energy into my sphere, I become negative. That doesn't mean I or we can't voice an opinion in public or private that encourages change. I use my pen carefully, but letters to the editor can bring results. As I look at the world around me, I am so blessed. I have enough and to share, or goods, time, and energy. What more could I possibly desire? Am I coasting on easy street? Sometimes. Do I bear scars? Absolutely. Have I learned from my mistakes? I hope to God I have. Part of my chosen public journey is this column and my public speaking. I try always to be open and honest, seldom graphic and dramatic. There was another conversation this week that moved me deeply. Someone expressed their appreciation for me telling of parts of my life story, for in identifying with me, they drew strength and courage for their each day. That is one of the nicest compliments one can receive. The truth is I still struggle with being good, and I still strive to remain positive, and I am still encouraged by encouragers. I'd say that pretty much sums up the majority of people I know. I do love a quick quip and a sharp comeback, but please, only at my own expense. Heck, reviewing even that last few days, and I didn't succeed with that one. A saint I ain't. Yet. And right in the center by Ken Waddell is entitled Historical Foundations. And disclaimer, the views expressed in this column are the writer's personal views and are not to be taken as being the view of the Banner and Press staff. When we look back through the archived pages of our newspapers, we get a bird's eye view of how things were done over 100 years ago. Some things really stand out. Perhaps the first thing that jumps off the pages is the lack of what today we would call political correctness. Opinions and humor back in the day were pretty much unbridled. There was no filter on the editor's typewriters 100 or more years ago. They said whatever was on their minds, and sometimes their comments very bluntly called out politicians and citizens alike. We should probably not go back to the almost vicious commentary that appeared in the old-time newspapers. That's best left to the internet and Twitter. At least the very negative comments in papers from days of old could be attributed to a real person who could be tracked down and held accountable. That's often not possible in the internet world, and that is a very real problem. If you can't be identified, you probably shouldn't be saying it. Also, 100+ years ago, the newspaper was pretty much the only source and place for discussion. There were no phones or computers, few movie theaters, and no radio or TV stations. No internet either. As far as advertising went, it was the newspaper, perhaps posters, and the Eaton's, Sears, or Hudson's Bay catalogs. The newspaper was king. I will be the first to admit that newspapers have a lot of competition today, but I would also maintain that a good community newspaper is still near the top of the heap for local news, ads, and commentary. Newspapers are sadly missed when they disappear. Just ask the 20 communities in Manitoba that have lost their papers in the last 5 years. One very notable difference in comparing papers today with papers from the past is that the ads were much bigger and more creative. Admittedly, some of the claims in the ads were outlandish and quite unbelievable. Also, unlike today, there were very large ads for cigarettes, and some cigarette companies even claimed to improve your health. Because building an ad was quite expensive and labor-intensive, ads were used over and over again. We still have a few of those old ads, cast in lead or an early version of plastic. They were nailed to a wooden block to be placed in a frame to go on the printing press. A review of early history, and then a review of more recent history, clearly shows that the newspaper still has an important role to fill. King is too lofty a title, but leader might be an apt description. I think people understand that a good newspaper has to be a leader in local news, advertising, and opinion pieces. But there is a catch. Newspaper staff can't be everywhere all the time. The local newspapers that are left cover many communities stretched out over many miles. Everybody knows the cost of gas and labor, so it's no surprise that a newspaper's staff can't be everywhere all the time. The good news is that it has never been easier to submit news, photos, ads, and opinion pieces to the local paper. Email is a godsend. Great stuff can be posted on Facebook, for example, but few Facebook posts have the reach of the local paper. Facebook contacts run in the dozens or occasionally hundreds. Most local community papers reach thousands. If a local paper circulates 2,000 papers, the industry standard is 2.3 people reached per paper printed. Papers have changed. Electronic media has its place, but the newspaper is still the information foundation. That said, everyone has to help strengthen that foundation. And there is one letter to the editor this week. Having been born in Winnipeg, I, like all Manitobans by birth and Canadians, express the very deepest of sympathies to the families and loved ones of the victims of the Carberry bus truck tragedy, as well as to the survivors for their sympathies. Plus the greatest of respects to the memory of those who were lost, essentially tearing a big hole in the communities of Carberry, Dauphin, Winnipeg, and all over Manitoba. You will get through this. You must get through this and stay strong for helping those victims so that they and their families can remember forever those who were lost, as well as carry on as good citizens to rebuild and do good works and acts in their names. Deepest sympathy, W. Wade Izzard of Edmonton, Alberta. And the thumbs down. This is meant to be constructive, but the signboard at the post office needs help. Signs need 4 tacks, and you need to respect the spacing for others. Also needs to be changed every 10 days or so. Not so wise to use laminated signs that can't be changed. We need to be proud of the space and able to read it. From Elizabeth Sumner of Neepawa. And finally, a small correction and update. The the Neepawa Banner and Press would like to make some corrections and provide a brief update in regards to the Little Ballers story from our June 9th, 2023 edition. Corrections. The Little Ballers program actually has 7 locations. Owner and head coach Chad Soler was an engineering student and opted not to complete his pursuit of an engineering degree since he felt it was not his forte. Dylan Holmberg's mother, Sharon Soroka, works at High Life and not the hospital. We extend our sincere apologies for these errors, as well as thanks to Mr. Soler for the received feedback so that they could be addressed. And an info update. In addition to the 500 kids who have gone through the Little Ballers program, another 500 have completed the free clinics Soler's program offers in various locations in both Winnipeg and surrounding areas. The Brandon expansion of Little Ballers is set to open in the fall, with University of Brandon student Brianna Dirksen as head coach and Brandon coordinator. And that's all for this week's edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press. And we'll see you again next week for another edition. Bye for now.